these are blueberries. There are actually several species of blueberry which are found in the northern hemisphere, but they all tend to have the same properties. These are American blueberries. The ones in this part of the world are called bilberries. Unfortunately, I can't afford blueberries, so I did that instead. Right, now blueberries are useful because they are antioxidant, and they are also diuretic, and they can prevent diarrhea. I use them mainly to lower people's blood pressure and to improve the quality of their eyesight because of the antioxidants. Now, back in the 1960s, there was a competition which was held to show children around a chocolate factory. This chocolate factory, unfortunately, hadn't been open to the public for quite some time, and there were a series of industrial accidents. One of the most remarkable of these accidents resulted in the transformation of this girl here, Violet Beauregarde, into the following appearance. In other words, she turned into a giant blueberry. Now, Violet Beauregarde was 151 centimetres tall. When she became when she assumed this form, she had a diameter of 131 centimetres. This gave her a volume of 1,177 litres and a weight of approximately 1 tonne. Now, there were certain things she didn't need to worry about after that. One of them would have been high blood pressure, and another one would have been particular problems with her eyesight. But there would have been a number of other problems. The maximum recommended dose of Vaccinium myrtillus, which is the kind that I use, is 8 millimetres. So once she was in this condition, she would have achieved 134 years worth of dose. Now, you can look at this in another way. You can say, well, you're supposed to drink 6 to 8 glasses of water a day. So suppose you drink 8 glasses of blueberry juice a day. That gives you 2 litres. 2 litres of blueberry juice a day adds up to 1,177 litres over a period of 1 year and 8 months. So the question is, would it kill you? Well, obviously, yes, it will kill you. But not necessarily not if it was isotonic, that is, if it had the same concentration as your body fluids of the necessary electrolytes, necessary ions, sugar, protein, etc., then no, it wouldn't necessarily kill you. But would you go blue? Surprisingly, the answer is actually yes, you would go blue. The reason you go blue is that it contains anthocyanin, which I've discussed before, and it would increase the concentration. That would indicate the pH of the body, which is slightly alkaline. Now, because Violet has fair skin, she would actually be slightly purple because you can see the colour of the blood under the skin more easily. So she would be violet. I think it was a happy coincidence that she happened to be wearing blue at the time. So, what's that equivalent to? Well, it's basically the equivalent of consuming nothing but blueberries and drinking nothing but blueberry juice for a year and a half. Now, in reality, what would that do to you? Well, rather surprisingly, you would become quite bloated because what would happen is protein energy malnutrition. That means that you lose the ability to pull water back from your body fluids into your bloodstream, so you end up with a distended abdomen. And another thing which happens is you lose the ability to, your liver loses the ability to push the blood through well enough, and fluid backs up and the abdominal cavity fills with fluid. So yes, you would assume a position somewhat like that. However, there's also the question of gravity, and I actually think you would end up assuming a position more like that. So, what's happening then? Well, she's getting 1 year and 8 months worth of food in one go. So, the result of that is that she has 159 days worth of vitamin C. Vitamin C is processed by the body into oxalate, and she would get kidney stones. She would also become diabetic because she's consumed 119 kilograms of sugar in one go and 167 grams of carbohydrate. This would raise it above the renal threshold and be diuretic, so she would be weeing a lot, which is not surprising either. 2 kilograms of anthocyanin, obviously, she's not going to get cancer, but also an excess of manganese. Now, an excess of manganese depletes the amount of copper and iron in your body, so she'd be anemic. Also, it tends to cause a psychosis. In other words, she would be insane, she would have Parkinson's disease, she would have hallucinations and violent acts. But she would also have low blood pressure, so that's a compensation, isn't it? Now, she would weigh over a ton, obviously. Now, that's not a particularly healthy situation to be in, and I think basically you're talking about the weight crushing her. One of the odd things is that she looks spherical. Now, why would she look spherical? Because the weight is actually pulling her down. So I'm saying she would look like that, she would look like that, she would look like that. So basically what am I saying? I'm saying it's a bad idea to have a tour of a chocolate factory, particularly if you chew chewing gum, and also that it's really bad idea to eat nothing but blueberries and drink nothing but blueberry juice for a year and a half, because you will have protein energy malnutrition. And really what I'm saying is that blueberries are a food, and like any substance, they have a toxic level which will do you harm and possibly kill you. But that level might be very high. I think basically, yes, Violet Beauregarde would be dead. However, there is an issue here. Where did all that substance come from? Because, you know, there's a little bit of chewing gum about that big, and that was it. Okay, Violet Beauregarde and the story Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and also the film Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, are the intellectual property of the respective copyright holders, including Warner Brothers and the Estate of Roald Dahl, and no copyright infringement is intended here.